folks, welcome to The Zone. Today we're discussing Manchester United 0, Wolves 1. So I've always said when Ranić was hired, I'm not going to judge the bloke until he's had ample time to put his stamp on the team. It's way, way, way too soon. And again, what I always say is, so what can you judge? You can judge the players on just their basic level of football. So you know how you learn something. Let's say you're learning the guitar, or you're learning some instrument, or you're just learning a new technique. You might drop down to a 3 out of 10 whilst you iron out all these new problems you've got with learning these new things, and then you start to get better and better. I don't think that's the case with these footballers. I don't think there's been some sort of incredible technical analysis that's been put on these players that has made them go, you know what, I'm really struggling with this new system. I'm really struggling with the adaptation to the new manager. So my level's dropped a little bit, but don't worry, I'll get it and I'll improve. No, I think what's happened is the manager's just come in and just said, I'm going to put most of you in your right positions and I'm just going to see how good you are, frankly. I think that's what he's saying. And I mean, I don't think it takes a genius to work out that the verdict, for me at least, is that the players just are not very good. Here are the last Premier League winners. We obviously had the Manchester United 2012-2013 season, which, you know, had your Rooney's, your Van Persie's, you know, etc., right? Really good team. You then had Man City, right? Who was Man City managed by? Pellegrini. Now, Pellegrini went ahead and he went to City. He got the Champions League semi-final, which they've only just managed to top by reaching a final, and he won the double. Mancini won the double with City as well the year before, so doing like the double with Man City is not unprecedented. Why is that? Really, really good squad of players. Yes, your manager has a lot to do with it. Your manager can take you to another level, absolutely. But if you have absolutely awful players that have no potential to be title winners, no manager is going to be able to get something out of a player that isn't there in the first place. Ferguson might be able to spark up Tom Cleverley in a certain way and get him to be a Premier League winning midfielder, but if it's not in him, it's not there to be found. So let's look again. You've got the City again, then you've got Chelsea. That Chelsea team under Jose had like Fabregas, it had Oscar, it had Terry, Czech, it had Peak Hazard. Then you've got Man City again. You've also got mixed in there. Who else? You've got Leicester. Oh, well, maybe the option is Leicester. Was it a brilliant manager that did it? Did the manager spark them up in such a way that no other manager could do? Maybe Ranieri suited him down to the ground, but let's look at it properly. They had a really, really solid back line. They had a really good Prem level keeper. They had in like peak Kante, absolute peak of his powers Kante, who's like an extra man. They had peak player of the year Mahrez, and they had Jamie Vardy, who still is good today and was on fire that season. He had like a top spine of a team. Okay, then you had the Chelsea under Conte, again that full-back system. I remember he had Victor Moses bombing up and down, and he had some other really good players in that league. Again, all brilliant players. Yes, the manager makes an enormous difference, an absolute enormous difference, but it's the players. That's the truth. And I think a lot of Man United fans don't seem to realise how bad our squad is. So I'm not even going to analyse positions or should he have played here? Is the system correct? Should he have been on the left or the right? Were the substitutes correct? Look, here's the thing, right? Phil Jones was man of the match. Phil Jones actually played with total passion. And I'm not just a passion merchant, but he was actually sprinting out, putting his body on the line, and he was blocking everything. He has, it's not even up for debate, he has played better in that one game than any performance Maguire has done this season, right? I don't think anybody that looks at it objectively can say that. And that's messed up, isn't it? That Phil Jones, who has like unbelievable injury problems, comes back and performs like that. Here's a quote from Luke Shaw. I didn't feel when I was on the pitch that we were all together. Luke Shaw questions the togetherness of the squad. These are things that you might be able to put up with if you thought Luke Shaw was brilliant, but he's not. People seem to think Luke Shaw is this brilliant player. He's not great at attacking. I don't care what people say. He doesn't score many goals. He doesn't get that many assists. And defensively, he always tucks in and he always lets the man cross. That's just been a theme throughout his entire career. I'm not just saying that because Traore got the crossing. No, if you watch hundreds of Man United games, you will see that he never quite gets out to his man in time. Some games he does, and it's a huge difference. Some games he bombs up and down, but not consistently. I remember Jose Mourinho wanted to get rid of these people at the club. He wanted to get rid of Martial, Shaw, Pogba, and he didn't like the fact Smalling couldn't use his feet. And there's a few other people. I'm probably missing a few. Would he be wrong to get rid of those players? If we didn't have Pogba, if we didn't have Martial, if we didn't have Shaw, if we didn't have Smalling, would we be a worse off? No. Luke Shaw's had 6 good months out of his entire career, apart from that maybe that 1 year at under Poch. The point I'm getting at is this system is playing. People are saying, oh, the system doesn't work. Just doesn't work. 4-2-2-2 doesn't work. Well, yeah, maybe this system puts added pressure on you 2 central midfielders that aren't good enough. And maybe it puts too much pressure on our wing backs that aren't good enough. But that's not really the system or the manager. You could say, well, he shouldn't pick that system if they don't work. But he has to pick the system and watch. These are his new players. It's his new team. He can't just guess that they're not good at it. Otherwise, you wouldn't find a Victor Moses that can do a wing-back role. You don't know who's going to adapt to what. So all he can do is put out his system, tell the players to go out there and do a job, and then he has to analyse it, right? Wan-Bissaka is not good enough. He's not. To sum up Wan-Bissaka would be like, he had all those awful crosses last match. He did all those awful crosses today where he even kicked it with his wrong foot, right? And then in the last match, where Ranić exploded on the touchline, was he did a throw-in, cocked it up, got into a big mess and kicked it out and conceded a corner and almost scored an own goal, and it was just a calamity. We had a throw-in today. And as he's picking up the ball off the floor and the crowd are looking at him, he was looking unconfident where to throw it, who to throw it to. Does a bit of a poor throw-in. Ball spills out for another throw-in. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that again. And he's looking around and he ends up doing the exact same thing and punting it long back to De Gea, almost giving away a goal again. They're not good enough. And these aren't any systems. This is not anything like, Ranić told him to do a certain thing and he can't do it and it's making him look worse than he is. Like, for example, when Van Gaal said, pretty much, we don't want you to go forward, we just want you to pass and never lose the ball. That's an example of a coach making someone look worse than they are. I don't think Ranić's done that. I think he's come in and he's just let people try to show what they can do. Matic is old. He can't get up and down. Even if he was brilliant, he can't play every match, so that's a problem. McTominay has 1 good game a year. And the real kicker is the central midfield. When you think about all these league winners, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, they've always had a really solid midfield, whether it's a Kante or a Fabregas or a Henderson linking up with a Salah or someone, right? They've always had a really solid midfield. We have the literal problem. Scott McTominay, Fred, and Matic, they're our midfielders, right? I would swap them for pretty much any midfielder in the league, unironically. Because the point is, the central midfielders of Manchester United can't do the one thing you need to be able to do in football. Receive the ball, turn, analyse what's in front of you and play a forward pass. That's it. If your midfielders, all 3 of them, can't find a forward pass consistently, you're not going to win matches consistently. You might get some victories like we have done. You might win the odd cup like we have done. But to consistently win a league title with midfielders that cannot pass the ball forward, not good enough. So the strikers you can almost let off because although maybe they're not running enough, maybe they're too old, maybe they're in the wrong movements or positions, whatever, they're not going to get the ball off that midfield anyway. The midfield. This is basically the pattern of play from Man U. Defender gets the ball, has a look around. Okay, pass the midfield. Midfield gets the ball, and they go, okay, forward pass, that's a bit difficult. That pass isn't on. That gap's getting closed down. Turn, pass to fullback. Fullback gets the ball. Can't go past a man. Can't cross. Can't do anything skillful. Rinse, repeat. Maybe we lump it up. Maybe we put a cross in. That's it. Then that's the whole thing. So people have been saying that Ranić's thing is about control and we're not controlling game. He's all about pressing. The players are not good. That's it. The players show that. year after year after year every time they fail to win the league. Like I make the simple point. There's a variety of managers that have won the league. If you go down the list of all the Premier League teams that have won, a variety of different managers, a variety of different systems, 4-4-2, 3-5-2, you've got Man City's false nine, you've got Liverpool's bombing up three forwards. A variety of different systems can win a league. A variety of different managers can win a league. You know what can't win a league? Awful players. If, I don't know, let's pick a club, Preston, Norwich. If Pep Guardiola goes to Norwich today, he might improve them. They might be tidy on the ball. They might be better defensively. He might get them up to top 10. Who knows? He might even get them to second place. But he's not going to win the league with Norwich, with that set of players. So that's what it comes down to. It comes down to basic things like the owners. They don't really know about the squad. They don't really know much. There's a quote from Joel Glazer saying Pele, about Pele. They're saying, oh, Martial's going to be the next Pele. They don't know anything about football. So when we have a bad result or a bad performance, they don't really know how to fix it. To highlight the problem, we have a new manager that's like only allowed to bring in, it's like, oh, you can manage Man U for a little bit, but you can only bring in a few coaches. Why? Like, you're either letting him manage Man U, and to perform he brings in the people he needs to perform, or you're just saying, look, you're not manager. You don't get to do anything. You're not the manager. Which one is it? 6 defeats in the past 14, and it's the most, I think it's the most or second most expensive squad ever built. Why? Because of things like this. Harry Maguire, 80 million. Not a fantastic footballer. Wan-Bissaka, 50 million. Cannot go forwards. Luke Shaw, most expensive teenage fullback ever. Just highly limited, or at least inconsistent. Matic, what was he, like 40 million when he was aging? Like, yeah. I don't think the system suits Cavani or Greenwood, to be honest. I think a lot of them are, struggling to find a position behind the Mr. Pass to me, Cristiano Ronaldo, to be honest. But I don't think the system is the problem. The problem is the players are just bang average. Why do you think Manchester United every single year, regardless of system, manager, whoever they sign, end up finishing, scraping top 4 or finishing mid-table? Because they're not very good players. Marcus Rashford's like, if he played for Man City, he'd pop into a very fluid squad, he'd pop up with 5 goals and assists, he'd play some cup games, he'd play the odd Prem game, and he'd do all right. He wouldn't be like an irreplaceable winger at Man City, right? At Man U, it's like, get Rashford back, we need him. Sancho, he lacks pace for the Premier League, but again, you can't even judge him because he's new to the league. How many times have you seen a player take a year to adjust to a league like Gundogan? It wasn't fantastic in his first year at City. There's loads of players. But yeah, I know people are going to go on and on about, oh, this system, this manager, this blah, blah, blah. Look, it's just the players. It's pretty much mentality of the players. That the mentality shown is this. Phil Jones, absolutely smashed up knees, hasn't played in years, sprinting out to get the ball to make sure we don't concede. Maguire, captain, always raising his arm up asking for an offside, saying in the media, oh, well, it is difficult with coronavirus. You think Phil Jones is going to come out and say, it's really difficult because coronavirus might have stopped me training? Like, no, it's just different mentalities, and there's a lot of shit mentalities at the club, like I've been saying for weeks. So yeah, there we go. That's my opinion. Like, comment, subscribe. What do you think? I think they're a bunch of mid-table players, and that's why I don't get that stressed when they lose, because it's obvious. We don't have a team built to consistently win football matches, so when we lose one, it's expected.